Hello. So today we have a special episode. Today we are talking about patriarchy, and we're also talking about how much patriarchy hurts people who are male presenting. How much it actually hurts them, And everybody suffers under patriarchy, Not only people who are assigned female at birth or who are female presenting, but also people. So today we're talking about how male presenting people suffer under patriarchy. So the underlying mechanism is that all expression is suppressed, and there is an all suffering is internalized, and essentially a person becomes somebody who has no worth as a human being, who are pretty much just it's the self-conception, just there to make money. That's what the person thinks, Oh, I just need to be strong, I just need to and also this kind of a viewpoint is facilitated by the capitalist form of production, which is essentially just based on exploitation. Things are being exploited. Your nature is being exploited. Human beings are being exploited. Everybody's being exploited. And that's what it's based on. And when this worldview is internalized and people actually go and participate in this system, essentially female presenting, I'll just say women in this case because and it includes all kinds of trans women, all kinds. Essentially, women presenting people are enslaved, essentially, and male presenting people are essentially made to kill themselves. So it's just a terrible system all around. It's really, really bad. And yeah, we might actually look at these issues. We're going to look at these issues from from multiple sides, actually, I think. But today our topic is the manly presenting people's suffering, under patriarchy. We're probably just going to go around this question, from all sides, anyways. So essentially, what happens is that when you do achieve this state of being able to dominate, you become domineering, and you taking up this strong person, form, and you're becoming very stoic, and you're internalizing everything, not sharing anything, not sharing your worries. Everything is becoming internalized. What you're essentially doing is you're doing both the service to yourself, because you now can no longer connect with anybody, and you're also doing a disservice to yourself because you're just in pain, and you start feeling like you're absolutely worthless. You start feeling like everybody hates you, and you're just under a lot of strain, and pretty much sometimes the only output you have is just dominate more, or just to go and Oh no. Oh, okay. So essentially, go dominate more, go break something, become angry, scream or shout or whatever. But it all comes from this suppressed and internalized pain, essentially. And it's artificially created. There's literally nothing biological, nothing. There's absolutely no reason for it to be like that. You know, and that's what's so ridiculous both about these systems of exploitation. They really shouldn't exist. They should not. Um, yeah, but so how do you overcome it? How do you really break the wall? How do you start expressing yourself? How do you start sharing? And also, there might be situation where and another thing, the pain that internalize, it doesn't, it also, it's just a myth. It's just a myth that it kind of goes away, because it doesn't. It also comes out in your conversation. It comes out in your expression. It just something that just comes out, and it never goes away. um unless you know how to channel it, properly. Like, you might learn to, I don't know, paint or make music or make songs or something like that. So, how to overcome it? Well, first of all, I think it has to be acknowledged. I think if you're a man presenting person, you need to acknowledge the fact that you've been conned. You've been conned. You know, um, essentially your thinking is faulty. That's the first part, and also we need to acknowledge that it's a system-wide issue. You know, it's not something that somebody just came up with. Oh, it's like, whatever. Yeah, it was. And these systems are pretty much where these rubbish myths about biological nature of, I don't know, man nature, woman nature, all these nonsense things come from. They're socially manufactured. Um, and it can be a pretty startling. It can be a pretty mad realization, because especially if you're already under a lot of stress, you're in pain. You know. Well, it becomes a problem then. Um, and also another thing I think that happens, it's but I for me as well, I also sometimes tend to get into conflicts, conflict situations, and but it's really sad, it's absolutely terribly sad, this how common this stuff is, and then people, I don't know, some people just go online and oh, oh, man bad, woman bad, or whatever, but it's how only, idea is stupid, it's not nobody's like inherently bad, good, or whatever, and it's, this biological essentially, it just needs to stop. It's hurting everybody. It's hurting everybody, nobody's born like this, nobody's born like that, whatever. Doesn't matter. You can be whoever you want, you can be whatever you like, I mean, of course, we all have certain limits, I'm not gonna, I don't plan on being like an NBA basketball player or something like that. But there are options. But if we don't, also at the same time, if you don't really talk about these things, they're not going to disappear. We have to take into account these systems. We need to talk about patriarchy. We definitely need to talk about it. It just needs to be discussed, everywhere. And how from one point of view, also we have to take into account that these categories, these binary gender categories, they're all bullshit. Okay, let's just state that out loud already. They're manufactured. They don't mean any. They're meaningless. All right, and they're culturally constructed clearly. So, but we still do have these categories. It's similar as being autistic. It's also a culturally constructed category, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. That's the thing that we're talking about here. So essentially, from one side, you might look, all right, this person is just being a fucking jerk. Am I a kind of essentially? So one category of these people are essentially enslaved, literally. There is no better word to describe enslaved under some kind of a hegemonic structure, which can only, in fact, it can only exist because of this very repression of humanity. So essentially, one side, in this once again constructed duality, just requires suppression of emotion, suppression of expression. Rigid gender roles. All right, and rigid structures, domination, all of these, just a requirement for this system to exist. So the other side can be dominated, enslaved, and dehumanized eventually. In fact, under patriarchy, both male-presenting, female-presenting people, all are dehumanized. Except for one side, it happens internally, no emotions, no expression, nothing. And for the other side, just a constructed duality. I'm not implying that there are only two sides. For the other side, it happens externally. The people are just discriminated, and just that's it. And it's sad. So how can we untangle this? How can we untangle this patriarchal knot? What do we do? I think first step is becoming aware of it. And what after that? What do we do then? Yeah, it's so ridiculous. People live all of their lives in these systems, and it's insane. But it's not. Yeah, how do you get? So yeah, awareness definitely is I think is the first step. What after that? Well, I think that yeah, we need to ask ourselves, how do we minimize the damage, really? Because this pain is. I'm now taking the part of the, as our topic, male presenting person, where so I'm in a lot of pain. I'm very repressed, but I can't talk to you because if I in fact, if I have a conversation with the other side, quotes, then I'm diminishing my own masculinity. I'm becoming less patriarchal, and thus my social status goes down. I can't participate in the capitalist system. Blah blah blah. Whatever. All right. So can't do that. So perhaps the system needs to be dismantled. But what would happen if one that did it? I think our conception of gender would change drastically, because I don't think there are traditional gender roles seem to be, and this might be an assumption, formed under patriarchy. I think, but once again, we do need to take into account that this might not apply to societies which, like, I don't know, tribal societies. I don't know. I really don't. I think this applies because this is a complex question, or maybe it does. Because okay, let's talk about here and now. Okay, so connecting your reproducing capacity to your social position, it's unhealthy. It should not exist. And I think just emotional vulnerability. I think it's the key, literally, because if the groups do stay segregated permanently, and if there's no emotional exchange, I think they kind of become, you can notice some kind of an in-group out-group relations. I think we don't want that, because it's terrible. This dynamic becomes terrible, because if you do create this kind of an in-group out-group situation, all right, male presenting, that means you're on my team. Okay, like female presenting, I should like man presenting, woman presenting, that's what I'm going to use here. Notice non-binary people are not even in this discussion, because patriarchy requires traditional gender norms. So we get this in-group out-group relation, and it's like they just treat each other like aliens, and it's just ridiculous. Human beings, but the socialization is so different that it's like aliens, species. Oh, and it's not necessarily based, not necessarily. It's just not. Yeah, it's so weird how this, like, yeah. So what else is there to say? Yeah, it's just painful now, and it's stupid, because for me at least, how did I even get into this situation now? Because I it's just painful all around. It really is. It's a system that destroys people. It's really not the way to go. It's just destructive. in every way, shape, and form. And I think the first step in order to start dismantling all of this is probably developing some kind of an understanding of the system, as I mentioned before. So, yeah, it's just sad. There's not much I can really say at this point, except that we all should be aware of it, and we all should deliberately break these social relations. Not break off, but break the mold. That's why all kinds of queer people are so important. People who don't fit these neat structures, that surpass them, that disregard the rules, of these structures. So yeah, thank you for your time. I hope you're having a great time, and let's dismantle the patriarchy. Everybody's suffering, and we don't need that. Oh, maybe I should mention how it's okay, I'll do it in the next one. Thank you for now. See you later.